It was supposed to be a team-building exercise, corporate-mandated fun, but it felt more like corporate-sanctioned torture. They were playing that stupid truth or dare game. Then came my turn, and some genius decided that my dare was to kiss my boyfriend of 7 years, Jason. Easy, right? Except Jason hesitated for a split second, a goddamn eternity, before cupping her head and diving in like he hadn't tasted anything good in years. The air crackled with the kind of silence that screams louder than any explosion, and every eye in the room was glued to me, waiting for the fireworks. They all thought I would lose it. Instead, I clapped. Bravo! Encore! I cheered. Jason, stiff as a board, finally tore his gaze from Ashley, the office siren who'd just gotten a taste of his lips. Ashley, still breathless, whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. Oh, Jason, you still taste the same. Jason blinked, confusion warring with something darker in his eyes. Then clarity dawned, and he shoved Ashley away like she was a hot potato. It's not what it looks like, baby, he stammered, turning to me. Ashley is just a friend, I mistook her for you for a moment. Jason, the CEO Foster, king of the castle, never had anyone dare to call him out. Someone, probably kissing up for a promotion, offered a lifeline. He's just had a bit too much to drink. It happens to the best of us, right? I glanced at Ashley, at her glossed lips and wide, innocent eyes. She did, in fact, look a little like me. A copycat, perhaps? She shot me a smug little smile, like she was saying, you've had him for years, so what? I'm back, and he's mine. I forced a smile of my own. So, are you two gonna go find a room, or do I need to order a limo? Jason's face darkened. Jamie, it was just a game. Don't be so dramatic. Ashley and I broke up ages ago. She just started working here and she just needed a friendly face. Can you get over it? The silence in the room turned colder. We were all adults, self-sufficient survivors, and no one could imagine being so incompetent that they would need someone to rely on at work. Ashley giggled, all sweetness and light. Oh, Jason, don't be like that. Jamie's not the jealous type, right, Jamie? I didn't dignify that with an answer. Everyone stared at us, an awkward tableau of betrayal and simmering resentment. It was clear to everyone that Jason was playing favorites with Ashley, and they couldn't understand why he was the one acting offended when he was the one who screwed up. I saw a flicker of something calculating in Jason's eyes, as if he was anticipating the explosion I was about to unleash. I used to do just that. I used to be a walking firework whenever Ashley's name was mentioned. Jason was used to watching me blow up, coolly observing my histrionics. Then, he'd offer a peace offering, a trinket or a half-hearted apology, and I'd crawl back, desperate for his attention. I had lost count of how many fights we had since Ashley had returned to town. I had even ran away once, during the worst of it. He sent a text message asking where he kept his favorite tie, and just like that, I was putty in his hands once again. Every time we fought, I had to compose myself alone in the dark before begging for forgiveness. I was too invested in this relationship. That meant that I would never win. After all, the one who falls first is always at a disadvantage. Back in college, Jason had been the most sought-after guy on campus. Art students would frequently intercept him, just to get his number, but he turned everyone down without batting an eye. And then, this godlike being asked me, an average Jane, do you want to go out with me? I was ecstatic, but also terrified that it was all a dream. It wasn't until I saw his number in my contact list that it all became real. I was worried that he would forget about me, that it was all just a passing fancy. So, I would tell him about my day, bring him lunch, just to make sure that he stayed with me, but his responses were always so bland. I didn't think that there was anything wrong with it. That's how people like him were, cold to everyone. I was sure that my passion would eventually melt his heart if I kept it up, but turns out, he wasn't incapable of passion. He was just saving it for someone else. Someone jostled my arm, snapping me back to reality. Everyone was staring at me. Jason's voice was low and dangerous. Jamie, if you're going to make a scene, do it at home. Don't ruin everyone else's fun. I didn't want to be here, being a third wheel to him and Ashley. I'll head out then, I said, grabbing my bag, not paying attention to Jason's furious face. Ashley's voice came from behind me. Oh Jason, is Jamie mad at me again? Jason was gentle. No, honey, she's just like that. As the door closed, I saw Jason and Ashley toasting with intertwined arms. Jason had never been that affectionate with me in public. They looked like a couple, and I wouldn't be surprised if they hooked up tonight. They had always used the excuse of friendship to relive the sweetness of their early relationship. Those loaded exchanges were a test of my boundaries. Like Ashley wearing Jason's jacket when it got cold. Like Ashley sitting in the passenger seat, feeding Jason snacks. They knew how to toe the line, and would say that I was reading too much into it if I got mad. They were now using a game and alcohol as an excuse to kiss in public. He had never done that. Jason took my love and loyalty for granted, and used it to do whatever he wanted. Before I had even left the hotel, my coworker texted me. Jamie, you just left like that? Are you just gonna let the CEO get away with it? They're getting even more out of hand now that you're gone. I stared at the message. Could I really stop him? I was getting tired of babysitting him for so many years. The cold wind hit my hair as I left the hotel. It also blew away the cobwebs that had been clouding my thoughts. I turned off my phone and put it in my bag. I bundled up and stepped into the cold. I suddenly realized, maybe I could stop loving Jason. I got back to the house. It was the first property that Jason had bought with his new money. We designed it together, and turned it into the house that it was today. My favorite flowers were on the coffee table. His books were on the shelf next to the couch. I had thought of this place as my home. Just like I loved Jason, I loved it here. I chuckled to myself. Other people didn't need my love. I went upstairs, showered, and went straight to sleep. Around 3 a.m., I heard a loud ruckus downstairs. Jason must have come back. I thought that he wasn't coming back tonight. When he had events late at night, he would always come back drunk. I would always leave a light on for him, just so that I could quickly make some hangover soup and prepare a bath for him. Maybe he wasn't used to the dark, and slipped and fell. Jason opened the door, expecting me to blow up, but instead, he was met with silence. It was the first time that he had been wrong. I was too calm, so calm that it was starting to freak me out. Jason must have picked up on something, and stood in front of the bed. He was radiating alcohol and Ashley's jasmine perfume. Jamie, he said, but I pretended to be asleep. He looked at me for a few minutes, scoffed, and stumbled out of the room. He slammed the door so hard that the entire house shook. I knew that he was pissed that I was ignoring him. He was used to being able to get angry whenever he wanted, because he was confident that I would always come crawling back. I ate breakfast breakfast the next morning. Jason came downstairs, rubbing his temples. Headaches were a side effect of his hangovers. I felt for him, and that's why I learned how to make so many hangover soups. He ordered without looking up, make another sandwich. Ashley really liked it. How funny. He was using me as his love slave. Jason sat at the table, and saw that there wasn't any food. There wasn't any breakfast for him, let alone Ashley. He saw that I was moving around the kitchen, putting lunch in a bag, and finally spoke up. I drank too much last night. Ashley drove me home, but she almost crashed. I was packing my lunch. I wasn't listening to him. Oh, really? That's great. He frowned at my disinterest. If I knew that he almost crashed, I would have been jumping out of my seat to take him to the doctor. I would have tied him to my waist, but I didn't care. Stop messing around, and make breakfast for me and Ashley, and I'll let you ride shotgun. He sounded condescending. He thought that I was just throwing a tantrum. I stopped what I was doing and looked at him. Ever since Ashley joined the company, he would go out of his way to pick her up. Ashley and I would fight for the front seat at first. Jason put his foot down. Ashley has to sit shotgun. She gets carsick. He didn't think that I got carsick too. And now, he was offering the seat to me like I was some beggar. But I didn't want it anymore. No thanks. I'm gonna take the train. He was silent. He must have forgotten that I'd been riding the train. We would always be late because Ashley took too long to get ready. I was getting behind on my projects, so I stopped joining them. Also, it wasn't comfortable watching them flirt. I kept packing, and Jason continued, I might be back late tonight. Okay, it's Ashley's birthday, and she doesn't have any friends here, so I'm gonna grab a drink with her. Okay. I grabbed my bag and was about to leave. Jamie, Jason called. I turned back, confused. He stared at me in disbelief. Why aren't you trying to stop me? I tilted my head, confused by what he was on about. I glanced at my watch. I'm gonna be late. I'll be back later. I watched him stand there, stunned, because he had always done this to me. Whenever we had an issue, he would act like nothing was wrong. He would make me feel like I was just talking to myself. I would try to pick a fight to get his attention. He would leave, without any reason, sometimes without any excuse. He would slam the door and make me deal with my emotions by myself. As I shut the door, I couldn't help but think that it felt great to just ignore the problem. I see why he does it all the time. Jason bought the entire company dessert today. The coworkers started to gossip. Did we get a new project? Why is the CEO so happy? Maybe we're ahead of schedule? I laughed. They were all wrong. It was Ashley's birthday. He wanted to buy dessert for her, so he bought it for the entire company. Or maybe he was just trying to make Ashley happy, but it didn't matter to me. Jason texted me that afternoon. Did you like the cake? I was shocked when I saw the text. I wondered if he sent it to the wrong person. I looked at the mango cake on my desk that had already started to melt. It was from my favorite dessert shop, the one that was expensive and always had a huge line. Jason was really pulling out the stops for Ashley. I didn't want to respond to him, but then another text came. The blueberry one is your favorite. I scoffed. He definitely sent it to the wrong person. I had mango. The one that was delivered to me was blueberry, but Ashley took it. She came to my desk. Oh, so this is where my blueberry cake went? How strange. Jason picked it out for me. It's his favorite. She threw the other one on my desk. It had been there for a day. I didn't touch it. I couldn't eat it now anyway. Plus I was allergic to mangoes. I threw it in the trash. I looked up and saw Jason standing in front of me. He was glaring at me. He looked at me, then at the trash. His lips were pressed into a thin line. Jason rarely visited the project department, so I wondered why he was here. The answer soon presented itself. Ashley came and grabbed onto Jason's arm. Jason, I told you to wait for me at the car. Coming up here looks bad. I hadn't said anything, but I could hear everyone's murmurs. They were my recruits, and they definitely didn't like Ashley. Jason glared at everyone, and they were silent. Jason didn't come home the day that he left the company. In the past, I would have been freaking out, calling him and demanding where he was. But this time, I didn't. I went to sleep and went to work as usual. He didn't come to work the next day either, and neither did Ashley. Jason finally came home that night, and I was heading upstairs. He grabbed my hand and asked, aren't you gonna ask me where I've been? I looked at him calmly. What do you want me to say? He suddenly got angry. Jamie, you're not like this. I paused to think about it, and nodded. Yeah, you used to be like this with me. He lowered his head and softened his tone. I drank too much yesterday. I slept at the hotel. Nothing happened between me and Ashley. He was acting like a puppy. I drank so much, and you didn't even call me. I had no idea what he was doing. He used to hate it when I called him. The look on his face was hilarious. I got a text from Ashley the next day. It was a pregnancy test, 8 weeks, and a picture of Jason at the doctor's office with Ashley. I was stunned. So he wasn't at the company yesterday. He was at the doctor with Ashley. I was shocked, but I still accepted the reality. They had been doing this for a while, hadn't they? I would have been more surprised if they hadn't slept together.